Hello, everyone, and welcome to Full Time, where we take you around the world of soccer, locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. The Full Time podcast is presented and powered by 91 Network. You are listening to Season 5, Episode 25 of Full Time. I'm your host, Daniel Scarpino, and with me is our co host, Gitano Gallo. Before we begin today's show, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. The Full Time Podcast is sponsored by Little Caesars Pizza. With their two locations in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, you can download and access the Pizza Portal app so you can enjoy a delicious hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars today. The Full Time Podcast is also sponsored by Sioux Sports. To check out Sioux Sports and all of their articles, announcements, and streaming platforms, including True Host Media and True North Radio, visit siouxsports.com as well as Sioux Sports TV on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. We remind our listeners that recordings of Full Time occur weekly or bi-weekly, and uploads to all of our platforms for public viewing and listening occur weekly or bi-weekly as well. Folks, we are delighted to have you back with us here on Full Time, where we get to discuss all things footy. G, on this Saturday morning, how are you, my friend?
I am doing fantastic. It is finally beautiful outside. City are in a decent run of form. The Habs are in the playoffs and winning games. It's been pretty great. How are you doing today?
No doubt about that, man. All is well in my neck of the woods, bro. Thank you. In today's show, we will discuss Europe's Big Five, the FA Cup, the Champions League, the Europa League, and local and regional soccer. As always, if anyone would like to listen to our previous content, please check us out at Full Time on all platforms of 91 Network. And without further ado, Gaetano, and to everyone who has taken the time to tune in here today, let's kick off. We get started with Europe's Big Five, and we kick it off with the Premier League. Liverpool are a mere 24 hours away from the title. They need just one more point to clinch it. Arsenal is second. Newcastle at the time of recording is third. Manchester City is fourth. Chelsea and Nottingham Forest are joint fifth, with Aston Villa chasing them. G, it is a right battle for the European places, which is seemingly changing with every match. Nottingham Forest just a few days ago with their win over Tottenham were third. They're now joint fifth. Newcastle, who were out of that, are now back into it. It's been bonkers there. But your thoughts on the top five, as well as Liverpool looking to lift the Premier League trophy tomorrow morning at this time?
Yeah, I mean it's going to be the most Spursy thing ever. They're just going to capitulate horrifically, and they're going to get destroyed, and Liverpool are going to win the league. Obviously, at this point, it's a matter of when, not if.
Yeah.
I just really don't see Liverpool losing all of their last 5 games, and Arsenal winning all of theirs. No, Arsenal might win all of theirs, but them winning and Liverpool losing, I don't see that happening. But yeah, the European race is insane. City were third actually before the Newcastle game kicked off. Unfortunately, they're crushing Ipswich right now, which is fantastic. But it's crazy to me, and I was saying to you midweek after City's big win against Villa at the last minute Mateus Nunes winner, like City are 6 points behind Arsenal, same amount of wins, only the draws and defeats. Like,
Yeah.
it's insane when you think about how close this whole season has been, outside of Liverpool kind of running away with the title.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And it's been things that you haven't necessarily thought about, like we talked about it on our show. I don't know if it was last show or the one before, but Chelsea being in the race for this, like we hadn't really talked about them all season because they haven't been having a great season by any stretch of the imagination, but they are there as well. Aston Villa kind of floating around mid-table all season, and now they're in the conversation as well. Nottingham Forest been consistently in third place all season. Now they might fall out of the Champions League position. So yeah, that top five battle, is amazing. And yeah, Liverpool looking to lift the trophy tomorrow, undoubtedly in my mind. Anyways, they will, because Tottenham will fold like a cheap lawn chair, and that's just kind of the end of that. And they did it last year, and I'm sure that they'll do it again. And in the relegation zone, the next club that has confirmed their relegation to the championship for next season is Leicester City. Leicester can no longer gain enough points mathematically to get out of the drop zone. They have 18 points for the season after 33 games played. Gitano, it's been a struggle for Leicester all season long, to put it mildly. They will drop down to the championship next season, and they will do so without the, and I I just say this honestly, the man that is Jamie Vardy. He's announced that he's leaving the club at the end of the season. So I'll hand it over to you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously with Leicester going down, we'll start there. They're just really, really, really sad to see kind of the drop off since the title win. The investment that went into the club, just really, because they tried to be like kind of a top four, top six-ish team for a little bit, and they stuck around there, but they've just fallen off a cliff. Sucks to see them go down, but it sucks more that Jamie Vardy's leaving them. That's, I mean, he didn't make his first Premier League appearance until he was like 27. And you look at the goals he's scored, the records he's broken. What was it, 11 games in a row with a goal?
Yep.
Like that is just insane. One of the best strikers to grace the Premier League. Hopefully he sticks around in the Prem. I can see him going to like honestly, like Villa would kind of slap as like a backup to Ollie Watkins, share some minutes there. I think that would be a great move for him. Get him back into, kind of European, maybe not Champions League, but maybe Europa or Conference League football. So he still has it. I know he's what, like 34? Oh,
Yeah,
no, he's 38. Jesus.
Yeah, he's. I was gonna say he's mid to late 30s for sure, because I think he's been playing professional football for 13 years, if that math adds up.
So he has been playing with Leicester since 2012, signed from Fleetwood Town in 2012.
Okay, yeah, so
Yeah.
give or take 13 years almost.
But I mean, the way I look at it, like if you're leaving Leicester in the Championship, like he intends to play Premier League football, and I think he's still like significantly good enough to play Premier League football. Maybe not start all 38 games like he's been almost having to do for Leicester for the last couple of years, but like he can definitely stay in the Premier League and he'll still bang goals. He'll be great. But it is going to be weird seeing him not in a Leicester shirt.
No, I fully agree with that. It's going to be way different, but I still also think that he has a lot to give, and I think that he can find himself somewhere for the next 2 years to be a contributing member of a team, maybe even a backup striker. Yeah, very sad to see Leicester go down. We did know that it was coming, but the drop off has been huge given the fact that they won the title, was it 2015, 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a pretty big drop off. When they had Brendan Rodgers, they were in the European places and things like that. But then after that, yeah, it's completely and totally dipped off. So I hope for them that they can. And you know what the interesting thing is too, Gitano, Leicester doesn't have a bad team. Like when you look at them, watch them play, they're not that bad.
No, they just, what I feel like is missing is like that spine of the team. Like when it was Harry Maguire, N'Golo Kante, Jamie Vardy, like that, you had like a up the middle, you had a Kasper Schmeichel in goal, like you had the spine of a team, and they kind of rotated guys in and around that, and were decently competitive in the Premier League for a few years after that. But as soon as they kind of lost that core of the team, I think, well, they struggled to replace Kasper Schmeichel when he kind of started to decline a bit. And I mean, that's almost like probably the most important position on your team is a goalkeeper, especially in the Premier League, where the quality of the forwards is so ridiculously high throughout the whole table. Like you need a goalie who can, give you a chance to win some games. And then I also think they struggled to, and I don't want to say replace Jamie Vardy, but help him out. Especially the last like 3-4 years, he's been like great. Don't get me wrong, he's been good, but he has just, like I said a little earlier, like not been able to start 38 games a season. Like he's just, in his mid and now late 30s, like he can't be doing that. And they never really helped him out, never brought in, enough of a quality, I don't want to say replacement, but just, support for him. And again, like they brought in like decent players, like Kelechi Iheanacho was fine there. Like there was a couple guys that came in and out, but it was just never, staying in the Premier League quality players, if I can put it that way.
It makes perfect sense to me. And with Leicester City going down, we also know Southampton has been relegated. The two teams that will be coming up for certain are Leeds and Burnley. And then there'll be one other team through the playoffs who will come up too. So we'll keep an eye on that. Ipswich will probably go down today, I'd imagine. And when that's sort of confirmed, if you will, in our next episode of Full Time, we'll confirm that for sure. Moving over to Italy, Serie A, it's all square at the top of the table. That's right. We have a tie for first place at this moment in time. It's Inter and Napoli, who are joint top of the table with 71 points each. Inter has the edge, however, with a superior goal difference. Gitano, we keep saying it week in, week out. What a title race here that we have in Italy's top flight.
Yeah, absolutely huge loss for Inter to Bologna, which is also a massive win for Bologna to keep them above Juve and right now in a Champions League place, which is insane to say. But yeah, with 5 games left, so the 13 goal difference for Inter, I think, is going to be a huge factor. They've got a slightly tougher 5 games left compared to Napoli, so I think both teams are going to win the majority of those games. I see them at least going 4 for 5 each. But I do think that if they match each other like punch for punch, that 13 goal difference, I don't know if Napoli's going to be able to make that up in these last 5 games.
Yeah, that'll be difficult. But what we can say, if they can't make up the goal difference where Inter could slip, is that they're going to have one eye, on the Champions League, whereas Napoli has both of their eyes on City A. So best title race for sure in Europe, and we continue to keep both of our eyes on that one. In Spain's La Liga, Barcelona remains top with 76 points. Trailing them is Real Madrid with 72 points. With 5 games to go in La Liga, 4 points is not a massive mountain to climb if you're Real Madrid, but surely for both of these teams, each game will feel like a cup final.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I've talked about this a lot, specifically this season, but this feels like it's an old school, like Messi Ronaldo title race between Barca and Real Madrid. And I remember watching those games like way back in the day, those like mid 2010s. And like every game, it didn't matter, beginning of the season to all the way to the end of the season, every game felt like a cup final. Every game felt absolutely massive. And this is the first time for me since probably like 2014, 2015, that La Liga has felt that way. And it's just been incredible to watch.
And I miss those days, man. Those give me instant nostalgia, just some of the best times in football growing up. And it's nice to see that we have something comparable here today. The Bundesliga in Germany is seemingly Bayern Munich's to win. Time of recording, they're looking like they're going to be moving ahead once again. The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, and I mean, really not much has changed in the Bundesliga. Bayer Leverkusen basically need to win all of their games. Hope Bayern Munich drop a whole bunch of points. I don't really see, again, the same with the Arsenal-Liverpool thing. Like, mathematically, it could happen, but it's just realistically not going to. At this point, kind of the race for the remaining. So I think, well, Bayer Leverkusen are, I don't think mathematically, but pretty much safe to play Champions League football this season. But at this point, the most interesting thing going on in the Bundesliga is the race for the rest of the European spots.
Yeah, good show indeed, and we're going to keep an eye on that after, what we believe Bayern will do, and that is win the title. And France's Ligue 1 finally has a storyline other than PSG being champions, as we announced last time on our show. Perfect no more are the French Giants as they succumb to their first loss of the season against Nice, ending an unbeaten run for nearly 350 days. Gitano, PSG has already won the league. As we said, we discussed that on our last show. We led with that. But they will not complete an invincible season as they do pick up a loss finally.
Yeah, and I mean, like, how wild would it have been? Obviously, in like 2 different leagues, but to have like invincible seasons back to back with Bayer Leverkusen and then PSG, that would have been just incredible. But it goes to show like just how difficult that accomplishment really is, and how insane it is that Arsenal, I believe Celtic, and Bayer Leverkusen are the only that I can remember that I can think of that have gone invincible in a domestic season. It's just an incredible achievement that PSG won't be getting this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, and they were mighty close, but they've had, one loss isn't going to define your season. They've been amazing all season in league play and in the Champions League, as we're going to get to here in a bit. But yeah, no sweat off their back for sure. I'm certain about that, because now they just focus on what's ahead, because they've got a huge game a huge tie, I should say, upcoming in the Champions League. The FA Cup semifinals are upon us, and it is time to go through each matchup here, and we will see who might qualify for the final in the world's oldest domestic cup competition. It all starts today with Crystal Palace, who will go up against Aston Villa. One of these 2 teams are going to the FA Cup final. Who will it be and why?
So we talked about a lot of the quarterfinals here being kind of coin flip with 2 really kind of even teams across kind of every aspect. And honestly, feels the same to me. I think it could go either way. Crystal Palace are in a great run of form. Mateta's just looked absolutely lethal in front of goal all season, really. So I could totally see the storyline where he, bags a big brace, Palace shut it down defensively like they typically always do, and, come away with the win. But I could also see Aston Villa's quality really kind of shining through, especially like those summer or the January signings there of Rashford and Asensio, kind of giving kind of just a huge boost and, like I said, like star power and quality to that team, and firing them through. I said this in the Champions League and I was wrong, but I'm going to back it again. I think Unai Emery is going to be the difference. I think he's just a superior manager. And Ole Glasner has been absolutely ridiculous this year. There's rumors that Bayern are interested in him, and a couple other major European clubs are interested in him from Crystal Palace. So I don't think that he's a bad manager per se, but I think Unai Emery is just kind of a level above. I think it's going to be tight. I would not be shocked to see extra time or penalties, but I think I'm just going to lean Villa.
Dude, you essentially took the words right out of my mouth. It's one of them things where I can't really say in favor definitively one way or the other, but I'm just going to lean Villa as well. I think that squad has been having a very good season. They've been competing on all fronts in just about every competition that they've played. They're still fighting for European football. I think the mentality is there, and that's no knock against Crystal Palace, because I think Crystal Palace has had a pretty good season as well, comfortably mid-table. But I have to lean Aston Villa just a little bit there too. Player quality, huge believer in Unai Emery as well. So we're both going to take Aston Villa to start. And tomorrow we will see the other semi-final contested between Nottingham Forest and Manchester City. Gitano, your Manchester City will be looking to punch their ticket to the FA Cup final, but standing in their way is a good Nottingham Forest side. What happens in this game, sir?
I watch it from behind a pillow for 90 minutes. That's what's going to happen. That's the only thing I can guarantee that happens. Yeah, it's going to be tough. City are kind of finally getting back to a full healthy squad. I'm knocking on wood right now because you never know. The back line has looked really solid the last few games. So the emergence of Nico O'Reilly as kind of a makeshift left back pushing forward, allowing Josko Gvardiol to finally, for the first time in the City career, kind of play center back as his natural position beside Ruben Diaz, has been a revelation for City. The back line is, like I said, for the first time this season, looked really solid. It just feels like, and I don't want to say that we're back to our best because we're nowhere near, but it kind of feels like we're ages and ages away from the October, November, December City that couldn't keep a clean sheet, couldn't get a result. I think we're kind of seeing the offense without Erling Haaland start to click a little bit more. Kind of what we do without him. Omar Marmoush, like I've talked about basically since he signed, has just looked fantastic. He's really changed the way City attack with Haaland and especially without. But Nottingham Forest have been really good all year, and they've been a pain in City's ass all year in the games that we've played them. So I don't think it's going to be particularly, one way or the other. Again, it's going to be very, I don't want to say 50-50. I'm going to call it 51-49 City. But yeah, I'm obviously going to pick City to win. I think it'll be pretty close, though. Maybe not extra time and penalties close, but I wouldn't be shocked to see, a late winner.
I'm pretty much on the exact same page as you. I think that the way that Nottingham Forest is going to set up is going to be pretty clear. I think they're going to play in that low block, look to hit on the counter, and I think that Nottingham Forest, and it's probably a wise move, are going to really be looking to use set pieces to their advantage to try and catch City in a moment of maybe lull, if you will. But I also think that this run of form that City's been on, I think it's pretty much come at the perfect time. Going to get European football, I would imagine. And when I say European football, I mean Champions League places. And I think that they're going to get into the FA Cup final as well. I think that they have more than enough to get past Nottingham Forest, but it certainly won't be easy. So you, of course, will take City. I, too, will take Manchester City. So, Gitano, to review our picks, we're both taking Aston Villa. We're both taking Manchester City. And as mentioned, first game of the semifinals take place today, Villa and Palace. Tomorrow it's going to be Manchester City and Nottingham Forest. In our next episode of Full Time, we will review the outcomes of these semifinals for you all and who has gone on to the FA Cup final. This is Daniel Scarpino and Gitano Gallo, and you are listening to the Full Time Podcast on 91 Network. A reminder that Full Time is sponsored by Little Caesars Pizza and Sioux Sports. Check out the Pizza Portal app for a quicker, easier way to get your next hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars. And be sure to check out Sioux Sports at siouxsports.com and Sioux Sports TV on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Moving along, it is the Champions League who has its semifinals on the horizon, and we will take a dive into each of the ties for you all, here and now. Gitano, we're going to first start by looking at Arsenal and PSG. Interesting that the sun just went down as I said that. Very odd. I don't know if anyone just caught the darkness that came over. Wow. Two young, entertaining sides who have had good seasons respectively, but very different seasons ultimately. It's all down to who will best the other over two legs and make their way to the Champions League final. I hand it over to you first, sir.
Yeah, and like I typically do when we talk Arsenal, I'm going to be kind of brief here because it's your team. I want to let you talk about them. I think that PSG's firepower up front is going to be the big difference. And not that Arsenal's defense is bad by any stretch of the imagination. I just look at, without Gabby Jesus for Arsenal, like really not having that. And I know they played phenomenally and scored 5 against Madrid, but I just think that cutting edge, I think Real Madrid's defense, PSG's defense is much better than Real Madrid's. I think it's just going to be, I just think PSG is a better squad kind of in every aspect. And again, that's not that Arsenal are a bad squad in the slightest, but I just think this PSG team, they're just cooking something special here in Europe. Their whole season really. And I think this might be kind of the moment where PSG, and I know they've made a Champions League final before, but I think this is going to be a lot different. I think they're really going to rise to the occasion on this one. I think it's going to be super close. Extra time and penalties in the second leg would not surprise me in the slightest. But I'm going to lean PSG. Also, the fact that the first leg is a home leg for Arsenal and the second leg is at the Parc des Princes, I think that's going to be a huge factor.
It's one. No one could have anticipated that Arsenal would have rolled over Real Madrid the way that they did. I don't think anyone going into this tie thinks that Arsenal is going to roll over PSG. I know I certainly don't. But again, it's about keeping the faith as a fan of Arsenal and knowing that if we could do it against Real Madrid, who is the king of this competition, we could do it against PSG. It's not going to be easy. We're going to have to dig in. They're going to make life difficult. Their back line, PSG's, is much better than what Real Madrid presented. I think on the whole, a little bit more of a fresh team at this moment in time, certainly in comparison to us. But I believe in the players. I think that the way that things have transpired as of late, some players coming through for us that we knew could, the likes of Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka coming back into the fold. Martin Odegaard hasn't been at his best by any stretch, but Jakub Kiwior coming in and replacing Gabriel at the back. Great faith in Saliba. Timber is there. We have Ben White who can come in. I have a lot of faith in these players. Thomas Partey, who's been really good all season. I've got to back my team, and I've got to say that Arsenal is going to win it over two legs. But you mentioned earlier about watching the game behind a pillow. I'll be watching it behind some type of shield or closet because it's going to be nervy for sure. But Gitano, I've got to back my Arsenal. And it will be Barcelona up against Inter Milan in the other semifinal. Gitano, a marquee matchup in every respect. Who is going to the Champions League final?
Yeah, so first of all, this feels so like, and I've been on a nostalgia wave this episode, but this feels so like mid to late 2000s. Barca Inter Champions League semifinal, like just it feels right. Both teams have been fantastic domestically and in Europe. Both looking to at least pull off a double. It's just like, to me, this feels just like peak Champions League. Like I love it so much. I think Inter's squad, I think, again, kind of like what I was saying earlier, I think their defense is just significantly better than Barcelona's. And again, Barcelona, we've seen them play great. Don't get me wrong. And their defense has been solid when they need to. But I feel like there's just a mistake just waiting in that Barcelona back line kind of every game. And whether it's a mistake for a goal, an untimely red card, it just feels like that back line is just a little undisciplined at times. And I think on the bigger stages, especially with the team as experienced and as good as Inter Milan, they're gonna make that backline pay. I think again it's gonna be tight, but I think Lautaro Martinez is gonna probably bag a handful of goals in this tie, and Inter are going to shut it down defensively, and I think Inter are going to win.
You make some really good points, and it's difficult to argue against it, but I am going to try. I'm going to take Barcelona only because you bring the argument up that they have a mistake in them. That is very possible. But we saw just the other day that Inter has a mistake in them as well, albeit it was in league play. And I think too, on the other side of things, that Inter could have a chink in the armor as well. And I think a side like Barcelona, who's so prolific in the attack, I think that they will be there to pounce. And again, just for how good Barcelona has been this season in the attack, they've been relatively decent defensively as well. I expect that there will be goals in this tie. I expect it for it to be close, but I expect that Barcelona and some of the experience as well that they have in that side and the wave that they are riding, I think that they will just edge Inter. So, Gitano, we agreed completely and totally on the FA Cup semifinals. We completely disagree here. You're going to take PSG and Inter. I am going to take Arsenal and Barcelona. It's all down to the Champions League semifinals, which are beginning on April 29th and April 30th, with the first leg of games and the second leg of games taking place on May 6th and 7th. In our next episode of Full Time, we will review the outcomes of these semifinals for all of you. Gitano, can't wait for these semifinals, man. Unbelievable showing that we're going to have.
Absolutely. And can I just say that, are you just trying to get the Arsenal-Barcelona Champions League final to run it back and,
It's not, at the end of the day, the way that we got played off the park in that final, it was just, you can't really replicate that. Even if we say, oh, we got our revenge, it is revenge, but it's not. It's the same club. But yeah, I don't know if we ran back that final, that's the only final that Arsenal's ever been, and I think that would be pretty cool. But as long as Arsenal get there, I will either take Barcelona or Inter, because again, if you're in a Champions League final, you've given yourself a chance to win, right?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Let's shift over, Gitano, to another European competition, and that, of course, is the Europa League, and that is getting ready to kick off their semifinals just the same. The first semifinal will be played between Athletic Club and Manchester United. Gitano, two teams who have had polar opposite seasons, if we're going to be completely honest here. But all of that aside, and maybe not all of that aside, depending on how we decide to rationalize this, who's winning this over two legs and who's getting into the cup final of this competition?
So I'm going to start by saying not Manchester United, because I don't care what other team they were facing. If they were facing like Tassie, your men's league team, I would pick you guys over United. I will never, ever, ever pick United, ever. That being said, I absolutely do think Athletic Club are going to win this tie. They've just been, again, outside of kind of the two Madrid clubs in Barcelona, been the best team in Spain. This season domestically, they've been fantastic to watch. Their style of play is fantastic as well. Not just the results, but how they get them. And truth be told, they should play United off the park in these two legs. The Williams brothers, Nico and Inaki, are just unbelievable up front. I don't think United's defense has an answer for them. And I don't see a world in terms of just in footballing where United can beat them. Will United maybe pull some, last minute late comeback bullshit? Maybe, probably, because I hate them. And that would, just be the most United thing ever, to get played off the park for 180 minutes and then score a late winner. But Athletic Club should win this tie. And to be fair, they should win it pretty comfortably.
They should win it. I'm hoping they win it. And I'm going with them as well. There's just no way that I can rationalize picking Manchester United in this. I think that their kind of luck, if you will, runs out, and I think that they're going to chalk this up to being one of their worst seasons in, I don't know if they could say history, but certainly in the last long while, that's for certain, longer than maybe we've been around. But I can't go against Athletic Club. They've been having a great season. Manchester United has not, and I fully expect Athletic Club to win this tie, especially over two legs. And in the other semifinal, uncharacteristic might be the word to describe it, but these two sides qualified for this round of the competition nonetheless. It's Tottenham who will go up against Bodo Glimt. I'm pretty sure at the beginning of this competition, not many, if any, people had these two teams pegged to get into a semifinal, but here we are. Europa League final on the line. Who's getting there?
here's the thing: if you had asked me before this competition started who's more likely to make the semifinal, Bodo Glimt or Spurs, I would have taken Bodo Glimt. I know nothing about them. I still really know nothing about them outside of kind of what we've seen in these last few games, the Lazio games, the Olympiacos games. But I counted them out, just honestly kind of discarded them in terms of opinion for those last couple of ties. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to pick Bodo Glimt. I think from what I've seen from them, the games against Olympiacos, the games against Lazio, there's just something special brewing there. The way that it's not pretty how they play. I'm not going to try and tell you that they're one of the best looking teams in Europe, but they get the job done when it matters most, and that's something that Spurs can't really say for the majority of the club's entire history. I don't see this Spurs team, especially with the current injuries they have, kind of the makeup of the squad. I really don't see them winning this over two legs. I don't think they'll get played off the park by any stretch, but I don't think they're going to come particularly close in this tie either. But I think Bodo Glimt are going to win it, and I just can't see Spurs winning it.
Okay, so just to get this, I'm not picking Tottenham, so I'm picking Bodo Glimt. I think that's going to be pretty clear. I'm not picking Tottenham, but what I will say, and I hope, because we're going to take both Athletic Club and Bodo Glimt, I've never in the history of full time wanted us to be right at the same time more than I do in this very moment, because if we're both wrong, that means it's a Manchester United Tottenham final, and I'm not having that.
I would rather the competition. I'd rather UEFA just be like, we're not playing the final this year, guys. Like, just wrap it up, fold the competition entirely. Like, I would rather that than a United Spurs final.
And I have to say this too, just, if Arsenal don't get into the Champions League final and Manchester United and Tottenham get into their final, that'll be probably my worst, as a fan of football, that'll be the worst moment in football for me ever.
Yeah. No, I feel that 110%. Neither of those clubs deserve to be anywhere near a final, let alone a European final. Like, if that was like the Carabao Cup final, I would still be fuming. I can't imagine a world where that's our Europa League final.
And surely that's not footballing justice either. Athletic Club, top 4 in Spain. Bodo Glimt, I think they're like, I don't know, first or second in their league right now. You might have to confirm that for me. They're definitely towards the top.
I will check right now.
Yeah. So, and I'm pretty sure like Tottenham is like 16th or 17th. United's like 15th. It just wouldn't be right. So we're both going to take Athletic Club and Bodo Glimt. Gitano, it just, can't see it any other way, honestly.
I am heavily confused by this.
I think
don't know.
They play at a different time because of the winter, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so like their seasons, it looks like they've just started because they've only played 3 games in their league, 2 wins and a draw. Sorry. So I mean, I'm gonna try and see if I can find their last season here.
Yeah, I honestly think that they do play at a different time just because they get like a winter, like kind of like how we have here in Canada.
Yeah, they get natural. Yeah, so they won their last league by 3 points.
Okay, so case in point, if football has any justice, Tottenham and Manchester United won't make this final, and Athletic Club and Bodo Glimt will make the final. We can only hope. The Europa League semifinals are around the corner, with the first leg of games set to take place May 1st, and the second leg May 8th. Again, in our next episode of Full Time, we'll review each of these ties for you all. And now it is time for a local and regional soccer update. First, it's here locally, and of course, it's all about high school soccer league play, which is finally ready to get started. The first set of matches begin the week of May 5th. Gitano, the high school soccer season is starting 2 weeks later than we traditionally start here in the Sioux. We've had, at least in my lifetime, I can only really remember maybe 1 or 2 winters like this that we've had. So we've had to push a lot of things back just with the amount of snow that we've had and everything else. But nevertheless, we are getting ready to go here. It will be a condensed season. It's going to be a lot of games played in 2 to 3 weeks. But we get ready to kick off here incredibly soon, G.
Yeah, actually, one of my neighbors said it this winter. He's like, every 7 years we get a winter like this. So it makes sense that you only maybe remember 1 or 2 of them. But yeah, finally we get some high school soccer. we talked about it. I don't know if it was last episode or honestly it might have been last year when we talked about high school soccer. But it feels like that. Like okay, like spring is here. Like the school year is almost done. Like we're almost at summer. It feels like that's like the no pun intended kind of the kicking off point of spring truly. So it's just a super exciting time.
It really is. It's an exciting time for athletes, coaches, schools, fans, parents, everybody involved in our community and in our soccer community at large. An exciting time without doubt. And different to previous years, games this season in soccer will be played on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at Superior Heights Soccer Field, with games kicking off as early as 4 o'clock and as late as 8:30 p.m. So again, traditionally, the games are always played all 5 weekdays. In the past, sometimes we've played on Sundays. This year, it's only going to be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But games will kick off at 4, which is a much earlier kickoff time, and then they'll go as late as 8:30. Again, the condensed schedule. We've got to fit in a lot of games in a short period of time. The first set of games, as I said, is going to kick off on Monday, May 5th. And as the season progresses, we'll keep all of our listeners informed with updates and announcements. A condensed season, unlike anything that I've experienced personally, either as a player or as a coach. How does one adapt to that sort of situation where you're going to have a ton of games, and then all of a sudden it's going to be playoffs like that, basically within the span of 2.5, 3 weeks?
So I've never been in that kind of situation either, but I'm looking at it if I was going into that, and if I as a coach or a player, I'm looking at it as that very first kickoff, that is playoff game one, and you just there's no time to be like, okay, like we're gonna tweak these things here and there and like work our way to playoffs. Like no, like let's treat it like it's playoffs from day one. Take it, that not that teams don't take the regular season seriously, but like take it playoff seriously from day one. Because that's basically like, you said it was what, 2 weeks, basically 3 weeks between like for the full season to wrap.
So basically, traditionally you get 4 week season, which is good, and then you got your playoffs, which takes place over 2 weeks. But in this case, we've got 2 week season, playoffs, which takes place starting on a Monday and then ending on the next Monday. So it's a 1 week of playoffs. So it's a lot's getting crammed in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I would just for those 21 days, like just eat, sleep, breathe, live playoff soccer.
Right.
That's how I would approach it. I'm not a coach or a high school athlete, so I can't really say any more than that. But that's how I would look at it. It would just be just a super intense 3 weeks where it's just you almost look at it like kind of like Inter and Barca are kind of looking at things right now where it's like every game's a cup final. Like you don't have to focus on the playoffs for this game. Like the game you have coming up next, that's the one you're focused on. Go out there, crush it, focus on the next game. That's how I would be approaching it. I think it's honestly a pretty good learning experience for the players and for the coaches to kind of be put in this kind of. And I know obviously the stakes aren't like they're not high stakes. Like I'm not, it's high school soccer in the Sioux. It's not the highest level of soccer in the world, but I think it's going to be a nice experience for them to kind of be put in these like crunch situations of like, hey, like this is, again, the stakes aren't massive, but like it's super important these 3 weeks. Like this is, like I said, eat, sleep, breathe your soccer, and that is it. I think it's gonna be a fantastic learning experience for the players and the coaches. I think it's going to lead to a lot more excitement and drama in terms of the games themselves. Again, not really having that like 4 weeks of kind of la 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 la. We're all in the playoffs anyways. Like I think these teams are going to take it seriously straight from that first kickoff, and I think it's going to be an incredible season, as short as it's going to be.
Yeah, you make some really intelligent points there. And what I will say, even though, again, there's bigger things in life than football and certainly high school soccer, we all know that. But just from a soccer perspective only, for a lot of these athletes, we talk about it year in, year out, this is the highest level that they will play. So the stakes for them will be big. So I think it is going to be a very narrow-minded focus on these next 21 days, starting May 5th. Those 3 weeks, it's all guns blazing. So really looking forward to the challenge and the experience as a coach. Looking forward to it from the playing perspective, of course, and I think for referees too. You want to talk about pile up? They're gonna have some kilometers in the legs as well, because we got a very short and small referee community, as we know here. So they're going to be piling up the games, Gitano. And in regional soccer, the annual Nipissing Invitational Tournament is set to go, with another year of fantastic competition on the horizon for teams in the province of Ontario. It's another year of this brilliant tournament hosted here in Northern Ontario. This is the 31st time that this tournament is in effect. If you could, please speak about the opportunity that these teams, coaches, and athletes have to experience competition from a regional and provincial perspective during the course of their regular seasons.
Yeah, and we've talked about it a handful of times now, but it's especially just like for Northern Ontario. Like we don't live near the GTA. Like we don't have this kind of competition kind of readily available whenever we want it. So for Northern Ontario community specifically, I think it's just huge to have competitions like this where these teams and players can like really challenge themselves against the best in the region. Um, yeah, it's massive. And we talked about high school soccer. Like for some of these kids, this might be the highest level that they end up playing at. It's a huge opportunity for them, and just any chance. And I'm obviously going to be a homer here. Any chance like teams from the Sioux get to go compete against the best in the region, best in the province, and challenge for a trophy, like that's absolutely massive. It's a huge opportunity. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, an opportunity is the right way to put it for certain. It's an opportunity to get better. It's an opportunity to challenge for a trophy. It's an opportunity to create memories. It's opportunity all the way around. And I myself am looking forward to being there with my team and having a right go at it, and hoping certainly for the best. And again, the opportunity to get better and create some memories is something that we're definitely looking forward to. The Nipissing Invitational Tournament takes place May 7th, 8th, and 9th. This is Daniel Scarpino and Gitano Gallo, and you're listening to the Full Time Podcast on 91 Network. A reminder that Full Time is sponsored by Little Caesars Pizza and Sioux Sports. Check out the Pizza Portal app for a quicker, easier way to get your next hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars. And be sure to check out Sioux Sports at siouxsports.com and Sioux Sports TV on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Full Time. As we bring today's show to a close, we want to extend our greatest thanks to all of you for tuning in. G, another great one today, my friend. Well done.
Absolutely. Well done to you as well. And I will say good luck on your high school season, and also good luck in the Nipissing Invitational. You're going to crush it. You always do.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much for the well wishes, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. A reminder to our listeners that the next episode of Full Time will be recorded the week of May 5th, 2025. In that show, we will take a look at Europe's Big Five, the Champions League, the Europa League, the FA Cup, and local soccer. As always, we will keep everyone in the loop with all of the happenings in the world of football. For weekly content, make sure to hit like, follow, and subscribe to all platforms of 91 Network on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Podbean, and Spaces at SiouxToday.com. For Gitano Gallo, my name is Daniel Scarpino, and thank you for tuning in to Full Time. We look forward to seeing you at kickoff next time back here on the Full Time Podcast and 91 Network. Best always.